Today we're going to go over different classes of herbs. The first one we're going to start with is a class of stimulants. And when it comes to herbs, a lot of people don't realize, depending on your situation, you're going to have to know which class you're looking for. So with stimulants are normally used, to make sure the body gets the blood moving, like you have yarrow, you have different herbs. But I'm going to go in order here because it makes sense. This is a new series I'm going to start doing here on YouTube. One you guys are probably familiar. Hey, Miss not Miss Kelsey. Hey, Miss Kelsey, I'm talking about herbs today. I'm trying to do this new series where I talk about the different classes of herbs and, kind of go from there. So that's what I'm trying to do here on TikTok now. So stimulants, and this I'm gonna start with the class of stimulants. Stimulants normally are natural healing substances which increase the activity or energy of the body. A natural stimulant will assist in carrying a normal amount of blood to all parts of the body, okay? So stimulants are indicated, meaning when I say indicated, that means this is when you will most likely use it. If you have any congestion, inflammation, fevers, all those things can be healed with a stimulant. And you can use stimulants in different ways. And depending on how I speak on the herb, depending on how I speak on the herb, we'll go ahead and tell you how to prepare that as well. So let me just let you know, with stimulants, you can target different parts of the body, like different organs. So if you're looking to stimulate your heart, ginkgo is good. If you're looking to stimulate the bronchial tube, mullein is good. Anything dealing with the gastro, the stomach, gentian root is good. Trying to stimulate the brain, rosemary. The intestines, yellow dock. For your nerves, like a lot of people have neuropathy, you want to use some dandelion, a motor stimulant. It's like how your hand-eye coordination. It's licorice root along with respiratory, which would be licorice root as well. And if you're wondering where I'm reading out of, I'm reading out of the book that I went to school with to get my degree to become a herbalist. So if anyone has any questions there, that's where I'm reading from. So you can't get this on Amazon. You actually have to go to the school, take the class and get the books. So the first one I'm going to start with is ginger root. Ginger root is commonly you see in stores. And one thing I can tell you about ginger, when you see it really huge in these stores, a lot of people are like, oh, I just want the biggest piece of ginger. That's not real ginger root. Ginger root doesn't grow that big. You know what I'm saying? So what you can use it for, you can make sure you use it for as antispasmodic, meaning like so any convulsions. It's an anti-inflammatory. And the best ginger you can get is Jamaican ginger. Jamaican ginger is the best quality. The best quality. So if you out at the stores and you on Amazon and you're purchasing ginger and it just say ginger, you have no type of way to know. So that's why it's good to just buy it yourself, you know what I'm saying? And then dry it out and make a powder if you have to, or just, keep it fresh and make a tea if you have to. If you have to make a poultice or a salve, you can do that as well. Ginger is a warming herb. It's we can make it as a hot infusion, meaning how you can put it in water, let it sit like a tea, let it sit for a minute. You can also chew it. So when ginger hits the saliva glands, it's helpful with the paralysis of the tongue or sore throat. And that's why you see at stores, you will see a lot of dried ginger. Like if you go like Asian stores, they have dried ginger. You can grab that because if you look on the back, it should just say ginger. If there's anything outside of ginger, you don't want it. And you can chew that to help your sore throat or even minor nausea. Also, it helps with colic. So it helps with colic, but if you add it with any sort of, I know a lot of people love to take these laxatives for some reason. I don't know why they like to take over the counter, but if you're having side effects from any over the counter laxatives, you can use ginger to kind of soothe that nausea and that gripe feeling that you may use. Um, you can also substitute ginger for cayenne. They pretty much have the same effects together, not together, but either or. You could use them in if you don't have one, you could substitute for the other. Now, if you want to make a mild laxative with ginger, you can take a quarter teaspoon of powdered ginger, about a half a teaspoon of senna, put it in a cup with a slice of lemon, and you're going to pour some boiling water over it, let it cool, and then you could drink it. Do not put honey in hot water. When you put honey in hot water to sweeten, it's killing all the enzymes. So if you even, it can actually be detrimental to your health. You do some research. You cannot, you can, but it's gonna hurt you if you continue to put hot water, honey in hot water every day and drink it. It can be detrimental to your health. It actually becomes poisonous, depending on the type of honey you use. So be careful with that. Now, I know we see a lot of videos on TikTok and all these things. People just automatically put the boiling water, then they put the honey. That's not the right thing to do. Okay. Also, let's see what we have here for ginger. I think that's all they have for ginger. Yep. So another stimulant is called prickly ash, and it's also known as a toothache tree. It's normally found in North America. And they what they do is they take the bark and it's stripped in the spring and it's dried. So again, if you're getting herbs and stuff from people that wild harvest, make sure they're doing it at the right time, because certain times of the year is the best time to harvest and the best time you can get is use out of it. So make sure they're harvesting it at the right times as well. So you can use prickly ash as a tonic, meaning you can, create like a tonic to where it's like concentrated. So you only need like a tablespoon or like maybe, an ounce or so a day, so that's what a tonic is. And we'll go into detail probably throughout the week on that. So your tonic is, again, this is a warming stimulant. So it invigorates the organs, right? You could chew the bark, and it was known to relieve a toothache. And I know a lot of people know about clove, but this is actually called the toothache tree. So the parts on it, the parts you want to utilize on this is just the bark and the berries. You can use dried or crushed. If you have rheumatism, you can create a tonic, and I'm going to tell you the ingredients. You can use the prickly ash bark, buck bean, raspings. That's rasping. You want to use a half of ounce of each and a third of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You want to boil 1.5 pints of water for 15 minutes, strain, and then you want to give, 3 tablespoons 3 or 4 times a day. It's very good with paralysis. So a lot of people, they say they be real stiff and they can't move, like their joints get locked up, or the toes when it comes to gout and things like that. It is very, very, very useful. You can also put it on externally. So if you want to soak like a white flannel, not a white flannel, like a white cloth or maybe a gauze, and then wrap it in that area, is very good for that as well, to help, that sluggish circulation. Now it's a little bit slower. It's a little bit slower than cayenne, but it's real, real effective. Now, another one people don't realize is black pepper. Like, these are things that you probably have all throughout your house, right? Black pepper. Black pepper is a stimulant and it's aromatic. So it's an active stimulant. It's going to help in perspiration. So it also has useful if you have like bad gas, like a lot of people, I guess, with these BBLs, whatever, they claim to have gas for days. So they may want to include black pepper. And a lot of people cook with black pepper, but the best time to get its use out of it is at the end of your cooking. So maybe like while you got your food on a plate, sprinkle a little black pepper, because again, once you heat up herbs to a certain temperature, the properties and the enzymes have been removed, right? So even though you're cooking with it and it's just been like in a stew, whatever, or a soup, you're not getting the effects of the black pepper. The next one is snake root. So depending on where you are, they call it different things. And it's interesting because you have to remember herbs grow everywhere, right? All throughout the United States, different countries. And everybody has their own little dialect. They have their own what they call a culture, way of life. So they call things different names. So depending on where you at, you may know as Virginia snake root, Red River, or Texas snake root. You only want to use the rhizome, which is kind of like the ginger bulb. That's what's underneath the roots. Well, it's like a root. It's called a rhizome, or the dried root stalk. This is very good as a tonic and used for your nerves as well. So again, if you have rheumatism, you can utilize this. And if you have nettle to add to it, if you have like a bad rash, you can take it, as a tea, and it'll really like you'll literally notice like 10 or 15 minutes once it gets in your body, it will help, that rash. So if you get into some poison ivy or something like that and you got that around, it's good. Also, it's useful in fevers. Fevers. If you have I don't know, haven't seen this in a long time now. When I was growing up, a lot of people had chicken pox. So if you have chicken pox, measles, smallpox, when they have them little, eruptions, like little bumps, whatever, you can boil some of that as well and put it on or bathe it, and then that will help, take away that itchiness. So it might even work for your mosquito bites. I know people have, a bad reaction to mosquito bites or some sort of insect bites. You can utilize that as well. Even during labor, if you want to help increase your labor, say for pregnant women, it will always make sure you go into labor real quick. But you make sure you are checking with your doctor, because again, every pregnancy is different. Some things happen, maybe your blood pressure rise, or maybe you become what they call anemic while you're pregnant. So it depends on your pregnancy. So don't just take it just because the book says so. Make sure you check with your doctor on that. The next one is cloves, and I actually drink clove tea every morning. So every morning I drink clove tea. I add clove, red clover, and I add a little bit of lemon. Clove is like it reminds me of golden seal. It's like an all around great herb, a great tonic. It's antibacterial. It's antiviral, antifungal. It's all these things. It's really, really good for you. But if you are going to grow clove, or if you're wild harvesting cloves, make sure the flowers are picked before they are open and are dried. It's real important to understand that. And this is why you have to ask questions, when you're buying these things. And if that doesn't tell you how they prepare these things, you know what I'm saying, that's a problem. That's why when people ask me, I let them know, hey, I get my chaga from the birch trees in Maine, and here's how they harvest it. I have the people that harvest it, I actually have videos for people that actually want to see it. Like I told people in the Chicago, I have, my friend that's giving me comfort, she wild harvests that stuff herself. So it's very important to know when to harvest and how to harvest to see if the herb is going to be useful. Because I hear a lot of people say, I've been taking herbs, but it's not working. Well, maybe they didn't harvest it at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be mindful. It's not just about just taking it just because it's good. It has to be harvested at the right time and prepared properly. So clove is a warming stimulant, and it's also a local anesthetic. That's why it's really good for toothaches as well. It's very aromatic, so you can actually use it, even around fall time. I put some cloves with some allspice and some orange peels, a little bit of vanilla, and it makes your house smell really, really, really good. So if you are pregnant and you have that morning sickness, you can take you some cloves, some spearmint, and turkey rhubarb, a half ounce each, and make you a tea out of it. It's very safe. Also, you could take some clove and some powdered white poplar bark in equal parts, or you could just put the powder in the capsules. And if you're going to be using capsules, make sure you check out the dosage. There's different sizes. You got 0, 0, 0, different sizes and different grams. So when you go purchase these things, ask them, hey, what is the serving size? How many grams is in here? So you'll know, what you're doing. And most time when you go to your local health food stores, they're really helpful. They're really, really helpful. And they love to help people. So oil, if you make an oil of cloves, so if you take some cloves and put it in a mason jar and cover it with some grapeseed oil or some avocado oil. I don't know, that one be messy this morning. Avocado oil, and let it sit. Make sure you cover it tightly, in your mason jar, out the sun in a cool, dry place, and let it just sit. And make sure you shake it every day for about 3 to 4 weeks, and you'll have some good clove oil. You can use that for your toothache. Put a little a Q-tip and put it back there as well. It's also good for insect bites and gout. Just make sure you could dilute it. If you want to dilute it, if it's too strong, you can just use some almond oil. You can use some almond oil. So the next one I'm going to go to is myrrh. I love myrrh. Actually, myrrh is not a stimulant. It's actually a tonic. Myrrh is what I use inside of a lot of things. Myrrh is Sometimes you can find it in a resin form, like a gum resin. So it depends on, where you get it from. It may be natural or man-made. So be mindful, because you really can't tell the difference unless you ask. And by law, they have to tell you. If they don't want to tell you if it's man-made or natural, I wouldn't even purchase it, because you don't want to play with your health like that, right? So it's really, if you have the gum, it's not soluble in water. You're not going to be able to use it like that. So it's best to just powder it first. And you can use it as a wash, for your gums, like a mouthwash. You can put it in some water. You can use it as a mouthwash. It's going to help your sores, any ulcers, inflamed gums, bad breath. If you have it in a tincture form, you could gargle it and mix it with some water. And of course, depending on your strength, you can add a bit more water, not to see how, because sometimes it's too much for your mouth. Some people say it burns or whatever. Just go ahead and just dilute it the way you know how, and then you swish, and that'll help, with any gingivitis and things of that stuff in your mouth. Especially with sore throats and ulcerations, like people like babies, whatever, they have a lot of ulcers and stuff sometimes, depending on the milk. That's really helpful as well. One herb is one of my favorites. That's a tonic I actually like. The common name is called bitter herb or turtle head. I know this sounds weird, but it's native in Florida and Texas. It's really found like on a low wet ground in the streams and the wetlands. So normally if you're walking like around a river or whatever, you'll probably see this in Florida or Texas a lot. And when it comes actually in the spring is when they harvest it. You want to cut them up, when it flowers, and then you want to dry it. So this is good for jaundice and constipation. So it's very, very good for cleansing the liver and your system of secretions of bile. So if you had those issues, which if your doctor told you, hey, you got too much bile, or all these things, or even if you eat a lot of seafood and you're getting mercury in your diet and those heavy metals from the seafood, like crabs and bottom feeds. I'm telling you what I know, because I love them blue crabs. So that's one of the things I utilize, to get those, the cleansing of the morbid secretions of the bowel. It also tones the stomach. It stimulates the appetite. What else it does? I think that's it for this one. You can actually add it to butternut. I don't know if you guys know what butternut is, and that's like a whole laxative as well. But you only want to use that once, or you could add it as a, some people like to, old school people, they call them, I don't think the young people know, they used to call them enemas. I don't think they do them no more, but you can create your own enema if you want to go that way as well. But be careful with it, because it has a purging effect, so it'll really, really clean you out. It really will. Let's see what I want to do next. Let's go to a diuretic. Here is one. This is one that's been all over the internet. This is actually cleavers, and some, depending on where you at, it may call goosegrass or bedstraw. So cleavers, when you grab them, make sure they're floured again, and you can use them fresh, or you could juice, cleavers, and you can use the seeds also. So you can use pretty much the whole plant when it comes to cleavers. It's a diuretic and a tonic. It's very, very powerful for the kidneys and the bladder. So if you having kidney failure, or you having issues with your bladder, cleavers is what you want to grab on. You want to grab it. Also, I know people that's had those. I had a client that had I don't know what he was diagnosed with, but he had to end up getting a catheter to go to the bathroom. So I told him to get on some cleavers and some other herbs. And about 4 to 5 days, the doctors were stunned, like couldn't figure out what it was, but it's so powerful. It will repair your kidneys like really, really quickly. Really quickly. If you mix it with linseed and you apply it to the breast, that's the best thing for tumors in your breast. So there was a doctor, and his name was Dr. Fox, and he was in England. He was well known for but he was for his botanics when it came to making these salves for the breast. So he says, we have ordered an express juice mixed with linseed meal to be applied to the breast with 5 milliliters of a juice to be taken in the morning after fasting. The juice is used to be applied to the sore nipples and the tumors in the breast. It exercises great control over the diseases of the skin. So he came up with this concoction. It's been very, very good. They actually put it in this book because that's one of the things we had to kind of utilize. Like when we went to school, we had to do not experiments, but if we had some issues or knew someone with some issues, we had to actually have them, do this on their own will, not forcing them, and come back and give us, their story. So half of these things in these books, I actually had to do with certain people, and we got really good results. So if tumors in your breast, cleavers, it's gonna help big time. And it's also good for edema. It's not only a diuretic, but it's also good to help, mildly move some ulcers and things like that in the body. Uva Ursi, depending on how you want to say it, Uvaursi. Some people call it bearberry, and it's also called Knik, Knik. That's also a diuretic, and it's an astringent as well. So again, this is the one that's going to help with inflammation of the bladder and kidneys. It helps if you have gonorrhea, if you have a lot of discharge. And it says many cases of lingering gonorrhea in females are reported and having cured by this alone. So if you having those issues, let's tell them they need to get some uva ursi or some bearberries. The same thing depending on where you at. Here's one of my favorite berries, juniper. I love juniper. I keep juniper on deck. Juniper is amazing. Actually, it's almost juniper season. And the next, where we at? August, September? No, we're at September. So around November, I think the end of October to get into November, this juniper tree out here will start producing juniper berries. And I'll have a plethora all over again. I just dry them out and I keep them in my jar. They're super, super good. So again, they're good for pain in the lumbar region. It's good if you retain uric acid, and that's again from eating seafood. Like people don't realize how, I know seafood is good, but it has a wear and tear on the body. So when I be seeing people eating crab oils every day and they don't, take certain herbs to cleanse that stuff, and they wonder why, they got heavy menstrual periods, or they got fibroids, or they got cysts, it's because of the seafood. It's built up. It's just sitting there. So if you actually use juniper is a one of the things I use in the pain be gone oil, because that's what's good for the sciatica. If you guys know, I got one hip, so I got sciatica real bad. Also rheumatism. You want to add some gravel root if it's really bad. Gravel root you can add with the juniper if it's really, really bad. You can make an oil from the root. I mean, not the root, the wood and the berries of juniper. And that you can make that for a backache. If you have kidney problems, your back probably hurt a lot, you can use that as well. Let's see. There's one thing in here I wanted to highlight, because we're going to pretty much, I'm going to try to do this at least every day and just go through certain ones. This is my favorite one. Indian sage, also called bone set. It's a diaphoretic. Okay, it's a diaphoretic and an expectorant and a laxative. So that means if you having issues, going to the bathroom, it's good as well. But it's I don't know if you guys heard of something called break bone fever. It's something they had a couple, not a couple years, probably a couple decades ago, and they utilized. It was a type of flu. That's just like there was a type of flu, and they used it. This bone set, to help the fevers, because the fevers were so bad. They said they gave it to the Indians. The Indians, the one who found it, who was here. We don't know who was here, but they got Indian in the book, so that's why I'm saying Indians. So they said the Indians, was the one who found this, and they utilized it for the flu, and that's how a lot of them survived when all the plagues came through with bone set. It's you can add it with chamomile because it's gonna produce emesis. So if you have some sort of I guess food poisoning. Food poisoning where you feel like, okay, this got to get out my stomach. It's gonna make you purge it up. It's gonna, force it out. You know what I'm saying? So it's also great for yellow fever. It's also great for your bowels, your liver, night sweats. If you have night sweats dealing with menopause, it's really good. What else? That's pretty much all that one has. And then the last one I'm going to go to is licorice root. Licorice root is expectorant. That means the mucus got to come out the body. You have like all this cough, and you just like every time you cough, like it comes up, or you know what I'm saying, or you constantly got what they used to call boogers in your eyes, or you always runny nose. You know, it's mucus in the body, right? So it's very similar. Licorice root is, you can use it in combination with marshmallow a lot. It's really good for chest trouble. So what I do is for one, I make a bath for the kids when they get really sick, whatever. I put that in a bath, and then I take some coconut oil, and I always make an oil and mix it in with it. So every like oil that's for exports, every herb that's for expectorant, I make my own oil again by just covering it with oil for avocado or grapeseed, or if you like olive oil, you can use that well. For about 4 weeks in the mason jar, keep it shook, and I could rub it on their chest and I add a little bit of tea tree oil to help break up the mucus in their chest, because them kids, they don't know how to spit up stuff, they swallow it, so that's how I was able to do it when my kids was young. Also, licorice root is good for a sore throat if you have hoarseness. Like, so when I come back from the money bag tour, because I talk for hours and I'm constantly talking afterwards, and beforehand I'm talking, so sometimes my voice goes out. So this is a root that I try to use a lot as well. And one thing about it, if you have edema, you don't want to take licorice root. Why? Because it could cause water retention. And if you have high blood pressure, you don't want to take it. Why? Because it's very high in sodium. So these herbs have contents of certain things that it may not be suitable for you. This is why, again, we do these free consultations when it comes to health, because you just want to take it just because it could cure something, but you may have high blood pressure, and then you take this and wonder why your pressure going up, and you don't know why. You think you're healing yourself. So certain things you can't mix. So I tell people, if you can't do it, if y'all don't have it, go to Crystal Alkaline Doula. You know what I'm saying? She know what she's doing. I can't vouch for no other herbalist out there but her, because I've seen her stuff. I've used her stuff. I know she's ordained to do that job. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't have it, I send people right to her, because she's not going to mix herbs. There's too many people. It's becoming real famous, and people just want to mix stuff just to sell it to you, and don't even ask you what you got. You know what I'm saying? Also, people with kidney failure, they can't really take this. You don't want to take it while you're pregnant. So this is why you hear a lot of horror stories when it comes to herbs, because a lot of people back in the days, whether they was educated or not, they didn't know, or that whatever happened, but that's what happened. It's not like herbs, like that's why I say, oh, this is poisonous, you can't take this, it's going to do this, because it's based on what your body has going on already. So licorice is a no-no if you have high blood pressure. Now, the last one for the day is the balm of Gilead. You want to use the buds. It's also known as poplar buds or balsam poplar, depending on where you at. That is also an expectorant, a stimulant, a tonic, and a diuretic. So when you see these buds, the buds should be gathered in the spring before they expand. Okay, they're gonna be a little sticky, not like super sticky, like tape, like crazy glue sticky, just a little sticky, and it has an odor of like fall. It smells like fall. It's very fragrant, so you'll know it when you smell it before you get to it. So these buds cannot be used as an infusion in water alone, because it does not extract all the properties. It does not extract the properties. So you might want to utilize what's use most, which is a grain alcohol over 80 proof. And you don't have to, I see people on the internet, they want to go get Absolute. You don't have to get it's not about the brand, it's about the volume of the alcohol. Okay, don't let all that foolishness go to your head. People like, oh, I use the best vodka, I use Grey Goose. Well, that's fine, it's still going to do the same thing that Everclear gonna do. It's gonna do the same thing that Everclear gonna do. So these buds should not be used if you've recently had inflammatory conditions, but it's great for your coughs, your dry asthma, along with wild cherry bark. You can pair it with wild cherry bark. Also, it could be added to cough syrups. You can make a syrup. I think I have that few recipes for cough syrup. I'll share those as well, because it's about that time of year where I'm telling you, people's getting sick. I'm seeing it now. Everybody's just don't know what's going on. Something's going around with all these recalls and schools starting. So the kids bringing stuff home, and a change of weather. Like here, the weather in the mornings is in the 50s, and about the end of the day, like 2 o'clock is like 85. So the weather. So you trying to freezing at night. You got to turn the air on in the day. So it's crazy. So I get it. Your body is still trying to adjust. So things may happen. Things may happen. I know I said that was the last one, but I'm gonna give y'all this Nervine. A Nervine and antispasmodic is something that's gonna stop spasms, help the nerves and all this stuff. So this one is valerian, and I love valerian. I talk about valerian root all the time. Best time to harvest when the roots are lifted in the second year after the leaves have died down. So again, if they just planted it this year, you do not want to use valerian on the first year it is planted. It has to be in the second year once the roots have lifted and the leaves have died down. Meaning, just like if you're planting garlic, like people say, well, when do I harvest the garlic? When the leaves die. So when the leaves turn from green to brown, that's how you know you're dead. That's when you know it's ready. And if it flowers, like if you're growing, if it has flowers, you want to pluck the flowers to encourage the growth. Because what happens is when it's growing on the ground, all the energy is going to every part of the plant, including the flowers, and that's not what you're going to utilize. So as the flowers come, you could pluck those so the energy could stay where it needs to be in the root. So the root should never be boiled. This root should never be boiled. It's very, very helpful in cases of nervous debility, weakness, irritation, or anxiety. It has a narcotic effect. Okay, I'm letting you know you don't want to drive if you're taking valerian root. That's why, and some of the pain be gone. I got in the description. Do not drive. The one that says calm my nerves. Do not drive. It doesn't smell the best. It doesn't smell the best when you're drinking it. So I know, some things don't taste well, they don't smell the best, but I'm telling you now, this one does not smell the best. But back in the days, it was very useful for scarlet fever and measles. They was given to them twice a day, and it pretty much healed them within a week. They also utilize essential oil of aniseed to cover the taste in some cases. So I don't know if you can even get your hands on that now. It's really hard to get your hands on certain things. So if you have like people have like little minor seizures, not no big seizure to where they have to take Dilantin and stuff like that. Little seizures, like some people just have little seizures. I don't know what the technical name is, but it's like a real short, like maybe 3 to 5 seconds, or maybe you have muscle spasms. Like I have muscle spasms sometimes. Colic, cramps, muscle cramps after like you working out. You could take valerian root, an ounce of valerian root, an ounce of wild yam, an ounce of blue cohosh, about the essential oil of aniseed, about 5 drops of that, and some ginger syrup. Mix it, and you can take that 3 to 4 times a day, and that's going to help your nerve issues, your neuropathy, things of that nature. And you can alternate that with the juniper as well, because sometimes, they work in combination when you rotate them. Kind of like they tell you at the doctor, rotate the Motrin and the Tylenol every 4 to 6. And you're thinking, why do I have to do both if they both do the same thing? But, kind of how their chemicals work, that's how herbs work, and that's where they got it from. What else? If you start to get hallucinations, that means you're taking too much, because remember, it's just like a narcotic. You don't want to take, if you don't eat sleeping pills, you do not want to take it, because it's going to make it stronger. If you drink alcohol, do not take it. But remember, valerian should never be boiled. Never, never, never. So that's what I have for today. Tomorrow I'm going to go through some more. And I think that's it, guys. Today is Monday. I am Miss Kelsey. I don't know if you're still here, but I don't know if you got the Zoom link for the class yesterday, but you didn't show up. So I'm hoping everything is all right with you and Megan. I'm gonna put a poll so we can see what days we want to take the Zoom classes, so we can go ahead and get those started. And the files for the videos are really, really big, so I have to use a different source now to get the videos to you guys, the replays from Instagram and Zoom, not Zoom, TikTok. But that's all, guys. Y'all have a great day.